become same old bliss. You know, with, wow, how lucky we are. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Okay, we're reading from Srimad Bhagvatam and following Murli Gopal's brilliant class in which he described the entire cosmic manifestation in 40 minutes. Right? 30 minutes. Okay, what do we remember from yesterday's class? How many yojanas, how tall is Mount Meru? You know,
6,000
the size, oceans, and then pieces of land, and then another ocean, and then land, and then, you know, then they don't even know how big a yojana is, you know, in Bhagavatam. And the other people say this, but the thing is, it's big. Okay? You know, that's why the details, you know, but the purport is, wow, my goodness, how big, the whole thing is really big. And what's the bottom line? Wonderful is Krishna, and therefore let us serve Krishna. Okay? So, Srila Prabhupada talks about the frog in the well. You know this analogy? A little frog lives in a well, a little tiny well, and somebody comes to him and says, "Did you ever hear about the ocean?" "Oh, what is the big water? Is it twice as big as my well? Is it 3 times as big as my well?" So we have our own little well of experience. To give an example. Okay, we ask your permission to give an example of, for example, a Mataji household life, right? We have your permission? Yeah? Here's my refrigerator, which I put whatever I like in there. Here's my bed. Here's my husband, who I have complete control over. You know, he knows if he steps out of line, he's in trouble, you know, and I control this situation. So that's the well, you know. But actually beyond that, there's an incredible cosmic manifestation with the Supreme Lord, who is the person who designed it, who empowered those to design it and manifest it and maintain it and even destroy it, even though it's so big like that. It's gone, you know. So we don't want to just think about our little well. We want to understand the extent of the universe. So we're here in the Srimad Bhagavatam class, elaborately describing so many details. And what are we doing here? When we come to class, what does Shastra say about what happens when you hear class? This verse, everyone. Nasta prayeshu badreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavata bhakti. You come to class, and what happens? Everything that is troublesome to the heart is destroyed. Can you say that? Everything that is troublesome to the heart is destroyed by regular attendance in classes on the Srimad Bhagavatam and hearing how wonderful is Krishna. Everything that is troublesome to the heart is destroyed. What else? Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojaha Gyanyatasru Vairagyam Gyanam Chayata Haitakam. So you go to class, Gyanayatya Vayoga means that you get knowledge and detachment from the world. Right? Everyone is impelled and controlled by the modes of material nature, but you become detached from that and you get knowledge about what the situation is. So that's another effect of coming to class. What else? These are all from the first canto, 2nd chapter. Shinvatam Swagata Krishna Panyashravana Kirtana Vinyatastova Bharani Vidinoti Suritsatam. The Supreme Lord. You go to class, you listen to the messages of Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who's the source of all this, you know, yojanas and mountains and ocean. he personally cleanses the desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee. So you get knowledge and detachment. Everything that is troublesome to the heart is destroyed. The heart gets cleansed of material desires. Okay, you gotta help me with this. What's the best thing? What's the most important effect of coming to the Srimad Bhagavatam class? Huh? Your love for Krishna is, awakened, okay? That's what you're getting. Those other things are all things we're getting. What's the most important effect of anything we do? Samsadir Harito Shanam, what does it mean? You please Krishna. Isn't that the best thing about coming to class? That it's an offering to the Lord. We're here as a sacrifice. We're sacrificing our time and our attention, and we're pleasing Krishna. So you're already successful. Because you came here, and Krishna's smiling. He's glad you're here. You please the Lord by the sacrifice of coming together to hear scripture. We're here to glorify the Lord. So let's read the verse, because you can get so much lost in the yojanas and the mountains and where is Mount Meru and all this stuff, At the time of death, Yamaraj is not going to say, okay, how tall is Mount Meru? How far is it from this island to that island to this ocean, and how much bigger is that one than this one? And Mahotswapa was here. Oh God. Yamaraj just wants to know if you want to please the Lord. So we have to be careful. We want to draw a line from all this information, all the way from the top of Mount Meru, all the way here to this room, to your life. Otherwise, there's just so many facts. Remember high school when you had to memorize all those dates, and what year was the War of 1812? Stuff like that. What is it?
What color is the White House?
What color is the White House? Yeah, and you have to memorize that stuff and then vomit it back, and then you get a mark about all the things you memorized. And what's the purport? What's the use? There's knowledge and then there's wisdom. What is that? There was one girl here, Donna Martin was telling me, she was pretty burnt out, really some kind of, heroin addict background or something, and she was really, she'd been through some terrific suffering, and he would speak to her, and like about 10 times in the course of the conversation she said, what's the point?
Oh my gosh.
Which is quite profound, What's the point of how tall Mount Meru is? What's the point of knowing, that there's an ocean made out of this and an ocean made out of that, and then there's an island and an ocean, so what's the point? Because she could see, I've got to get a grip on, what are they doing here? Why do they do this? And what's the point? What's the point of what we're doing? The Bhagavatam says, what is the use of severe austerities? Control of the mind, control of the senses, all these different things that people endeavor for, accumulation of wealth and knowledge and PhDs, and what's the point? Without devotional service, they're all jiro, useless. Without devotional service. So when we realize how wonderful is Krishna, and we say, hey, you know what? We should serve Krishna. That's the most wonderful thing that, to do that offering of love. That's the point. So here we go again with all these yojanas. It's actually painful. It's hard to think, oh, wait a minute, hold it. What is, so what? What's the verse number?
11 through 19.
11
Through 19.
to 19? Woo! That's a lot of yojanas. Okay, the marker is in 6, so we're going to move the marker 11 to 19. The 4 sides of the great mountain known as Sumeru, on the 4 sides of the great mountain, are 4 mountains: Mandara, Meru Mandara, Suparshiva, and Komunda, which are like belts. The length and height of those mountains are calculated to be 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles. Write this down, you'll be tested. I almost feel like saying, who cares, you know, in one sense, you know, because they just said that they don't even know what a yojana is, you know, right? When I say Mars, that's you.
Oh, man.
Some
Yeah,
people
it's
say the
not-
yojana is this, some people,
Yeah.
so, you know, alright, it's big. Standing like flagstaffs on the mountains, or on the summits of these four mountains, are a mango tree, a rose apple tree, a kadamba tree, and a banyan tree. These trees are calculated to have a width of 100 yogacanas, 800 miles, and a height of 1,100 yojanas. Their branches also spread to a radius of 1,100 yojanas. O Mars Purusha, best of the Bharata dynasty, between these four mountains are four huge lakes. The water of the first lake tastes like milk, the water of the second like honey, and that of the third like sugar cane juice. The fourth lake is filled with pure water. The celestial beings such as the Siddhas, Charnas, and Gandharvas, who are also known as demigods, enjoy the facilities of those four lakes. Consequently, they have the natural perfections of mystic yoga, such as the power to become smaller than the smallest or greater than the greatest. There are also four celestial gardens, Nandana, Chetrarat, Vabrajaka, and Satobhadra. Got that? Okay. The best of the demigods, along with their wives, who are like ornaments of heavenly beauty, meet together and enjoy within those gardens, while their glories are sung by lesser demigods known as Gandharvas. On the lower slopes of Mandara mountain is a mango tree named Devachuta. It is 1,100 yojanas high. The mangoes, as big as mountain peaks, and as sweet as nectar, fall from the top of this tree for the enjoyment of the denizens of heaven. When all those solid fruits fall from such a height, they break, and the sweet fragrant juice within them flows out and becomes increasingly more fragrant as it mixes with other scents. That juice cascades from the mountain in waterfalls and becomes a river called Arunoda, which flows pleasantly through the eastern side of Ilavrit. What was the last verse?
16.
19?
19.
Okay, this is the last one. Similarly, the fruits of the jambu tree, which are full of pulp and have very small seeds, fall from a great height and break to pieces. These fruits are the size of elephants, and the juice gliding from them becomes a river named Jambu Nadi. This river falls a distance of 10,000 yojanas from the summit of Mount Merumandra to the southern side of Ilavrit and floods the entire land of Ilavrit with juice. We should have had Sundarananda Babu here, the juice bar. Catch this. Huh? We can only imagine how much juice there might be in a fruit that is the size of an elephant. It has a very tiny seed. Naturally, the juice from the broken jambu fruits forms waterfalls and floods the entire land of Ilavrit. That juice produces an immense quantity of gold, as will be explained in the next verse. Okay. Questions?
Do you know what a rose apple is? A rose apple. What it is? What kind of fruit?
No, I don't know. But it sounds like it's an apple with a rose fragrance, doesn't it? Apple fruit.
I was just hearing some lectures from His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Maharaj on this section of the Bhagavatam,
Yes.
and he made, I think, a very relevant point, that the reason why the Bhagavatam describes the whole universe and how wonderful and amazing it is, and the lakes of nectar, is to help the conditioned soul understand that no matter where he goes in this universe, although it may be very fantastic, it's not really going to satisfy him. And that's why the Bhagavatam says that, look, how far can your imagination go?
Right.
Imagine if there was suppose you're a drunkard, there's an ocean of alcohol for you.
Right.
And you can go there,
Right.
but you're still not going to be satisfied.
Right.
And so the Bhagavatam tries to present that to the conditioned soul's understanding,
that's the
that no matter
point.
how good it gets, you won't be happy.
So
I know
in
that was a very
Bhagavad Gita, what's the
beautiful
verse?
point.
Brahma Bhuvana Loka from the highest planet to the lowest, all are places of misery where repeated birth and death takes place. Right? So let's see if Ramroy Prabhu can offer perspective on any of these verses, or
Goloka Vrindavan is the supreme planet and supreme position with personality of Godhead Krishna enjoys. His sovereignty is at its highest, the highest manifestation of the absolute truth. So all other realms and states of existence, they're connected to Goloka Vrindavan in terms of their imbuement with either the spiritual or material energy. So as devotees, as we're aspiring to follow in the footsteps of the pure devotees,
right.
Srila Prabhupada said, I have purchased your ticket to Goloka Vrindavan. So if you have a ticket, I bought your ticket to India, all you have to do is get on the plane, stay on the plane. So if we just stay on track, then that's our ultimate destination.
Okay, so this is like a travel agency. They're talking about the different locations, what they're like,
Yeah.
what the facility is there, and then the point is, what's the use if it's temporary and birth and death are there? But beyond that, there's the spiritual world. Beyond that, there's a place where the quality of life, the signature quality is love, that people actually love each other, and they love Krishna, and it's harmonious, and the satisfaction is eternal. So, yeah, when you get a travel agent, he's going to tell you the different places, and then he's going to recommend some place. When you move your finger like that, are you asking a question or just scratching?
Just
Oh, okay. Just
You're
respond.
saying on the Bhagavatam, 5th canto, we can also understand that the charges have commented on this 5th canto. Srila Prabhupada has labored to translate it. Our scientists in this movement relish presenting this in a
That's true.
vernacular of the common man.
They get excited about it.
But the fantastic verses show a fraction of Krishna's greatness.
Right.
With these inconceivable statements. I mean, that's just one fraction, 1/4 of the whole creation. What to speak of Goloka Vrindavan like that? How incredible! How inconceivable! And such a as inspiring to try to achieve Krishna's lotus feet beyond all of this. But we still honor and respect the inconceivability of some of these verses for
Right.
sure.
Of course. We don't want to minimize
No.
or exclude them, but what we're doing is we're drawing a line from this description to this, of the Mount Meru, to this room, to our life. And Srila Prabhupada does that in every verse of the Bhagavatam. There's a purport. We were talking the other day about the story about Noah, the ark, all the animals, and then on the internet there was so many commentaries about shipbuilding, how much wood, how many hours of labor it took them 100 years to build a boat, whether it had a round front or a square front, or whether, what is a cubit, like what is the yojana, and, all these people are talking about shipbuilding and construction and, what they think was important. Other people were commenting about animal husbandry and how come the tigers didn't eat the ducks and, why, why did this boat have, enough food in it to feed them and what happened to all the poop, they were talking about that kind of stuff. And then other people commenting on meteorology and weather and how much rain it would take and how long it would take and how hard it had to rain and where did all the water go. But nobody was talking about, wait a minute, this is a story about God and how He offered guidelines for living in this world, and some people ignored them. And they didn't fill their life with devotional service. And they didn't build their faith by hearing the scripture. And they didn't take time to worship. And they didn't take time to serve. And what happened to them? They just drowned, So the real purport of the story, we get lost in the animal husbandry or the construction or the weather. We forget that it's about Krishna. People forget they want the kingdom of God without God. They want the spiritual world, devotional service, without Guru. Whereas a devotee, his life is, who is my Guru and what's he asked me to do? I'm here to serve. So, God, Caesar's not here today. Where's Caesar?
You're in the Philly to pick up some books.
Oh, we're feeling separation.
New book order.
Okay, so, Vaisheshekha Prabhu, who Caesar's aspiring to accept initiation from, he always says, so, you probably just take one thing away from this class, and we hope that it won't be one of my poor jokes or something like that, but it'll actually be something about how wonderful is Krishna. Therefore, let us be satisfied in devotional service to Krishna. We have this little chant that we do, right? The children do this. You have to imagine this echoing through your consciousness and seeping into your soul. We are satisfied living in the forest of Vrindavan. Everybody. We are satisfied living in the forest of Vrindavan. One more time. We are satisfied living in the forest of Vrindavan. The activities of devotional service are relatively simple. Cleaning, cooking, singing, taking prasadam. But to be satisfied in that, because the itchy mind is thinking, what else? Just relax and be satisfied to fill your life with devotional service with complete confidence. Everything else will be there. This is the bottom line. We met one, actually there were 2 or 3 of them, girls who were deaf, and they used the sign language, and they showed us, this is called seek, like looking around. Seek first. The kingdom. This is the king with his sash, and this is the land. Seek first the kingdom of God. All else will follow. Follow is like this. Seek first the kingdom of God. All else will follow. Right? Which is a simple statement. It encompasses the bottom line of Shastra. Do this. Prema Pamata Maha. Love of God only. We don't need anything else. Questions or comments, please? Normally Gopal's list the best questions. And you know why? Because he's performing austerities and really trying to please Krishna, and then these things bubble up, the doubts and the... Please.
One thing that I was just remembering, I heard a lecture of Radha Maharaj on these verses,
Mm-hmm.
and he was trying to explain. So here is Parikshit Maharaj, who has been looking for Krishna all his life. From the moment he came out of the womb, he was looking for Krishna. He is the grandson of Arjuna, and now he's going to die. He said, why isn't he asking from the beginning, like, okay, he's a devotee, like, can you just tell me about Krishna, pastimes of Krishna? He says, Maharaj had said, how many of you would ask the devotees in your deathbed, tell me about the universal form.
Right.
But Parikshit Maharaj, he did it. He asked, can you please tell me about the universal form? And what's more, and also
Among other things, he inquired, what is the duty of a person who's about to die? What should I make as a priority? And the answer was to hear the Srimad Bhagavatam, to hear the glories of the Lord, and appreciate how wonderful is Krishna.
And then Shukadeva Goswami goes for 10 chapters describing the universal form.
Right.
You know, and this is about like halfway, like this like day 4 of 7, you know, somewhere in the day. So why is this happening? Why isn't he telling him, okay, you know, just tell me about Krishna? You know, is that one is that he was asking on our behalf.
Right.
That is how magnanimous King Parikshit is. That even, you know, on something that is like so imminent for him as his own death, he's thinking of others. Like, okay, let me benefit others in this time. So that's the first thing. And the second is that he wants to, at this point, to completely absorb himself, not in matter. So why is he asking about the modes, the universal creation, when it's all matter? Is that because he wants a spiritual vision? He wants a spiritual vision. He wants to be able to see Krishna in the world, because that's where we are right now. You know, how do we absorb our mind in the Lord when we're seeing so much of, you know, when we're constantly in contact, not with Goloka Vrindavan directly, but with this material world? Well, it said, if Madhavendra Puri, when he would see a cloud, he would immediately like think of Krishna and go into ecstasy. So these descriptions of universal form and everything are specifically aimed at bringing us to the point of seeing God in everything.
It's a really good point. Rama Prabhu was saying that Srila Prabhupada's given us a ticket to go home. So you've all got your ticket. Now the point is, just like Maharaj Parikshit, who else are you going to bring? If you really want to please Krishna, Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, no one is more dear to me than one who preaches, one who shares this message with others. So to please Krishna, if we want to, he's most pleased when we try to give it by some means, right, to others. So Maharaj Parikshit was like that. He really wasn't even thinking of himself. He was thinking, what do people in different levels, you know, in Bhagavad Gita there's one verse that says, let not the wise disrupt the minds of the ignorant who are attached to fruitive work. They should not be encouraged to refrain from work, but to engage in work in a spirit of devotion. So he's considering, and if you can do this, do this. If you can't do that, do this. If you can't do that, do this. There's always, you know, some way to begin. There's always a doorway for anyone and everyone, no matter what level they're on. Sometimes walking on the street, Srila Prabhupada would just say to someone, good morning. The Muslim people say that when two people meet, the first one who says, how are you? That person is closer to God. Notice that yourself in the day. When you meet someone, do you say, how are you? Or do they say it first? Because the more mature person is concerned for others. The heart is full of love and looks for the benefit of others. Not just me, me, me. And you, if it has anything to do with me. Otherwise, forget you. It's the me generation. Get a whole generation of people that are thinking like that. Work very hard, make money, spend it on yourself. That's the perfect life. It's just, you know, It's so dry. Right? It's so dead. So, and interestingly enough, anyone can please Krishna. If they do what they can. Other people might think it is small, but if we do it with love, and it's the best we can do, and we offer it to Krishna, any one of us can please Krishna. Other comments and questions, angles of vision? Please, Madhura Prabhu.
Thank you for your class.
We're only repeating what we heard from Guru and Shastra.
I was thinking about the Srimad Bhagavatam in general, but particularly these verses and stuff, is that there's so much speculation out in the world about
The exact details,
the exact details of the world.
but they're trying to present it.
Yeah.
And sometimes the detail, just like we said before, so many yojanas from this, how tall is Mount Rainbow, how many miles is it from this lake to this island. But the thing is, it's big.
Yeah.
Right? It's big. It may be 10 yojanas, 50 yojanas, 100 yojanas, and in the Bhagavatam itself, they don't even know what a yojana is. Some people say it's 8 miles, some people say it's 10 miles, but it's big. So you have to be able to see through the fritter-fratter, the details, and get to the point. This is really big. What else?
I'm just saying that it, like we can understand the Guru has perfect vision because
He knows
he's
the
representing
point.
Krishna.
Yeah.
So it's all coming from Krishna. So he knows the world as it is, and he's able to present it as it is.
Right.
That's what I appreciate so much about these
Right.
verses, is that there's no speculation.
Right. The absolute truth is something that does not change with time and circumstance and location. Relative truth, how long does it take to get to Los Angeles, or what the temperature in the room is, or how old you are. There's so many factors that could, so many variables. But the absolute truth is, Jivera Swarupaya Nityana Krishna Das. You are a servant of Krishna. Right? It doesn't change. It's true for everybody. If we had a Martian spaceship land out here on First Avenue and a creature with 6 eyes and 10 arms with a green body stepped out, we would say, Jivera Swarupaya. You are a servant of Krishna. Right? We don't care where you come from. Right?
Preach to the Rakshasa.
Huh?
Preach to the Rakshasa.
Preach to the Rakshasa.
Of course. Even the Rakshasas are looking at Krishna. They don't know it's Krishna, but it's Krishna. Right? Mritya sarva haraschaham. For the atheist, Krishna says, I am death. They're looking at death as the absolute truth. That a wise person will accept death. Alright, I'm going to die, no big deal, I accept. So that's an aspect of Krishna, yeah.
Well, if you're talking about death, I was wondering if you could tell us that Sankirtan story of yours where you met a guy and...
So many people have heard it, but we were doing Harinam in Philadelphia on South Street. And we stopped at a light, and there was a man, very nice 3-piece suit gentleman with a tie, and a very beautiful lady with him. Looked like a wealthy, aristocratic kind of person. And while we were stopped at the light, we were walking along the sidewalk, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, sir," he went, "Ah!" Snarl, not even a subverbal, not even just, complete disdain and, horrific, revulsion. I said, "Okay, have a nice evening," we walking along the sidewalk, but he couldn't get past us because there were like 5 or 6 of us. And one of the devotees said, "Your friend is still with us." So we got a little further along, and he grabbed me by the back of the kurta. And I couldn't move, and everybody kept going. And I said, "Sir, can I help you?" "I'm an atheist." spitting it out, like spit actually came out of my complete red face. I'm an atheist, you know. He said, okay, I have to go. I said, no, you're supposed to preach to me. You know, Krishna says you're not supposed to preach to the, you know. So I was like, he said, you're supposed to tell me I'm a demon. You're supposed to tell me I'm stupid and I'm an illusion, right? And you know what's good and I don't know anything because I'm covered over, right? Remember he talked to devotees because he knew all the jargon. You know, and I'm going to hell. And I'm a demon, you know. I said, I didn't say any of that. He said, I was praying to Krishna, what did you say to somebody? I couldn't go, he had my curtain. I said, so, could I ask you a question? Oh, the whole demeanor changed as soon as I inquired submissively from this person with tremendous conviction.
I saw a sign on the sidewalk last week. Thank God I'm an atheist.
Yeah. But he was really convinced that this was a great blessing and he was in knowledge. So I said, you know, so what, would you describe to me what it's like to have the highest knowledge, the highest level of consciousness? Oh, he was ready to, you know, enlighten me instantly. He grabs his thumb like this. And he starts telling me about this Rambo movie. You know what is Rambo? You know, I was like, oh my God, you know, what the hell is he talking about? Totally ridiculous, you know? Okay. I didn't know what to say. So Krishna gave me like that. It was amazing. I said, I got it. Rambo, if death came, he would accept it. He wasn't afraid, boom, you know, bah, bah, bah. Wasn't afraid. Just death is the absolute truth. And his appreciation and acceptance of death is the highest level of consciousness. He said, yes. I said, well, our Bhagavad Gita says that. Well, we accept that totally. You're not going to argue with me? No. I can't understand that. I said, yeah, but it says it. Mritya sarva harascham. For the atheist, I'm death. Right? That's Krishna. You know, when Krishna came into the wrestling arena, Mother Jasoda saw her dear baby. The gopis saw the boy next door. Right? The yogis saw the absolute truth, and Kamsa saw Krishna as death. Right? So, this is an aspect of Krishna. So I was trying to convince him that it actually does say that in Shastra. And he said, I said, that's an aspect of the absolute. The absolute truth is like, takes in everything, like a diamond has many facets. And one aspect of the absolute truth is death. And you're appreciating a genuine aspect of the absolute truth. And there are other aspects, and we have an aspect that we appreciate. We're aware of your aspect. And he said, well, what is that other aspect?
Oh no.
I said, no. You have your aspect, we have our aspect. Go home. Leave me alone. My friends are 2 blocks ahead, you know, I gotta catch up, you know. I said, no, you gotta tell me about this other aspect. I'm very, very, very interested. At that point, we were right across the street in this little preaching center we had across the street on the 2nd floor. I said, tell you what, come across the street, upstairs to the 2nd floor. I'll give you a book, and you can read it. What am I going to say to this guy? Came upstairs, he and his lady friend, they sat down, they took prasadam. They stayed about an hour asking questions. He took a book, he gave me a $20 donation, he gave me a big hug, and he left. You know? So the point is that it doesn't matter who they are or how covered over they are seeing Krishna. Because there's nothing else but Krishna, for God's sake, you know, right? They're seeing Krishna. It's Krishna. They may know it's Krishna, they may not know it's Krishna. How wonderful is Krishna?
How wonderful is Krishna?
Okay. If you take anything away from this class, please remember that at least a few times today, you know. How wonderful is Krishna? Therefore, let's just serve Krishna. Be satisfied in devotional service. Please, other comments and questions, because, you know, was you raising your hand or fixing your sorry? Fixing your sorry. Okay. Please.
Tulsi did like a
Tulsi.
lot of Sankirtan yesterday night.
Harinam?
Downtown.
Or what happened?
He was at a guitar return.
Oh,
Oh, yesterday. By the
You're gonna tell me? Okay.
So like me and Tulsi were walking down, and he was feeling really bad because he like didn't approach anyone, giving the
Okay.
log and you know that.
Yeah.
So if we were walking down the street, and then it was like there was like this this guy outside a bar, and he said, dude, we should approach the drunk people because they'll give us money. You know?
Say that again?
He said, let's approach the drunk people so they'll give us some donation. You know.
We don't want to
No,
get
I didn't know. So
give
they
you a
can
chance
give, they
to
can
do
give a
something.
chance to serve.
Okay,
each
that's
other
better.
and stuff.
Please. We don't remember what we're doing.
Give an opportunity to not go
Good.
to hell. You know what? So
Show her love.
show them love. That's basically what this
Good.
is. And then
This guy is like a ball of love. You know,
Right?
just like his heart is overflowing.
So we were walking down the street.
And that was Krishna who told him to do that, by the way.
Right.
How wonderful is Krishna?
So then we thank you. So we were like walking down the street, and then like he saw like this guy outside the bar with a hat on it, and he's like looking at me like, man, should I do it? I said, man, don't think, just do it, man. Just don't think, just do it. You know, so I told him, don't think about it. You're getting too mental. Go and do it. So he approached the first guy. The first guy gave him a donation. The second guy he approached gave him a cent. And the third, like then 9 to 10 people rejected him, and then in the end we were outside the bar. I told him, man, dude, if you go inside this bar, or like we talk to someone right outside this bar, they'll probably give us a donation. Then we were standing there right outside the bar, and Tulsi walked up to these two guys smoking cigarettes. And can you tell the rest of the story? Because I don't know what you told me.
Well, one thing I realized, I suppose, with this interaction was, like I approached them, and the instant reaction was, no thanks.
Yeah.
No
You know,
thanks.
they're smoking, and they're like, see us, and the instant, I
I'm good.
didn't even say anything, no thanks, no thanks. So I thought, well, I'm already here, I'm talking to them, so, just start engaging them. So I engaged them in a bit of small talk, and just like, oh, I'm from New Zealand, I'm traveling monk, you guys locals, tell me about this place, and tell me about,
Oh.
maybe some things that I can go see. And then they started to open up. Oh, New York's a big place, and different things you can see. What are you into? Like, that music. True. I'm like, and so they then started to describe, oh, well, you can go to this part, and there's some good places. But Saturday night isn't so good for you. Everyone's just drinking. And, they could see like, oh, you're a monk, and so you're not going to be into drinking. Everyone's just getting drunk tonight. So they gave me some advice, some places to go where there are people that I can talk with, and then they just sort of like slowly just opened up, and then I thought, oh well, I'll give them these nice pens that all you need is love, and they saw them and I sort of appreciated that, and then I just said, ask them, we're doing this really lovely service, and we're encouraging others to help us, giving them an opportunity to help us. And then, like, straight away, they weren't doubtful, like, yeah, sure.
Just see, Krishna showing
Just giving.
you did the courageous thing of giving them a chance. And you do have to give people a chance to slow down in the direction they're going and come back. So you need a little ice-breaking small talk and, Please.
This just reminds me of one of the most amazing things that ever happened to me on book distribution when I was traveling in the van before I joined the Harinam ashram.
If you talk a little louder, the people behind you can hear also.
So when I was traveling in the van before I moved into the Harinam ashram, I was doing concerts and music festivals. And I was in Delaware at the Firefly Music Festival. And this place was just flooded with alcohol. It's a camping festival, so it's 5 days of people living in a field,
Right.
with beer pong tables and their tents and the stages for the music. And so as I was going around, every single tent had a beer pong table. 15 college kids in the thick of it, not just casually having a beer outside of a bar,
Totally.
smoking a cigarette, but 3 hours into a game of beer pong. And there was nobody else to approach. In the beginning, I'm thinking, okay, I'll just skip these, but it just became overwhelming, and it's just like, oh my God, there's no other option.
People may not know what beer pong is. You have a ping pong ball and you throw it in cups, and if you get it in, you drink, or you don't drink.
Yeah. You you basically, it's a quick way to drink a couple liters of beer.
Right.
Let's put it that way. And so at one point, I just gave up on trying to filter it out. And I started approaching these tables of people playing beer pong. And my mantra was literally, like I would walk up, look into the tent area and see that there was a beer pong table or 15 guys drinking beers. And I would just grab my head and go, they're jivas. You know, what can I do? And so I just walked in and I approached them thinking it's gonna be a failure, they're just gonna shut me down, they're gonna ignore me or whatever. And all of a sudden after 2 minutes of small talk, you get 7 of these people breaking out their wallets and
Right.
handing me $10, $15,
Everybody
taking
has
a
the
book.
potential to engage in devotional service.
One of these guys grabs the book and like,
Oh my, this is so cool, man. I've been looking for this for so long, you know. Marty, check this out, you know.
telling their friend, and then one guy gives in, and then everybody else kind of opens up. It's like, oh, that actually is pretty cool. You want a beer, bro? You know, a beer for it? No, sorry, I'm a monk, you know. But you know, just leave a donation wherever you can to help us, and you know, over and over and over and over,
Right.
people just open up. So you just see.
I met one minister out here who goes from bar to bar in the East Village, just hangs out and talks to people and then preaches. So
Last thing, I was thinking that like them, you giving them the opportunity and them taking it is the only thing that stands between them and hell. It's really important to do it.
And it's for our purification. And for us as a Christian, let's not forget that. Okay, of course, Srila Prabhupada.
Jack.